Hello everybody, welcome back to Ghostly Franchise, and today we're doing a different kind of lore video. It's more of a theory to say. So, this theory is going to be about Midir, the Ring City, and how Lothric and how it all connects together. This is just my personal theory, so enough dawdling around, let's dive on in. Something that confused me in the Ring City DLC, don't get me wrong, the Ring City DLC was great. It had amazing boss fights, the atmosphere was great, the area was great. But something that confused me was the placement of a specific enemy. The dragon armor. Right in the back of the Locust Swamp. This has just confused me. Why would there be a Dragon Slayer armor here? And that got me thinking. Was Lothric involved in like the siege of the Ring City, because we know there was some kind of siege. So in Dark Souls 2 there was this boss called the Ruined Sentinel, which became later enemies in Drangleic Castle. And we see that the Judicator Giants are able to summon these Ruined Sentinels to basically bow you down. One of the worst starts of the DLC, but it's very fun. And that's what got me thinking, because the Ruined Sentinels were like the main line of defense for Drangleic. Why would they be here? And we know that Nishandra basically forced Vendrick to basically go and fight the giants. She seduced him in doing that. And it would make sense if Nishandra was also looking for the Dark Soul, because she was one of the fragments of Manus, and she was like, you know, the Dark Soul man, the Furtive Pygmy, all that. Why should I just convince Vendrick to go and get it for me? So that was interesting. That got me thinking about this. And how Lothric's connected to this, because the Dragon Slayer armor as a whole is basically Lothric's line of defense against the dragons. We know from the Dragon Armor Soul that these were basically the knights, like the heavy-duty artillery knights, to say. And after I basically read the description, I'm like, hey, why is Lothric here? And I know that Lothric is like basically like really likes linking the First Flame. They always had to have an heir. Lothric was a city built on the principles of linking the First Flame. And we know that the Ring City, the Dark Soul of Man, wasn't a big fan of it, because they wanted the Age of Humanity to come, because we can see that with the Ring Knights. They're all human, and they wanted humanity to basically rise up and basically destroy the Age of Fire. So it would make sense that basically Lothric would be mad at the Ring City and wanted to declare war. And that's why I see Dragon Slayer armor, because we know that the Ring City's basically main line of defense was Midir. And what better way to basically kill Midir is with a Dragon Slayer armors. So my guess, Lothric sent Dragon Slayer armors to try to take over, because we know that people knew of Midir who were outside the city. Because we see the old stump tag that's basically, she says, oh, Midir is basically flying over the city, getting rid of all the dark and keeping it as a prison. So my guess, Lothric knew of that and sent the Dragon Slayer armors over. And we know that Lothric wasn't too far from the Ring City, because the Drake Heap. We see the ruins of the Grand Archives, we see ruins of High Wall Lothric. So it would we know that everything has come together in the Drake Heap. So I just feel like this is a really interesting topic, because it would make sense if Lothric declared war on the Ring City, because they weren't because we know that principles can kind of like principles are very I don't know how to say this. Principles are very aggressive in the Dark Souls universe. With example, Carthan Framp, Immortal Serpent Carthan Framp. Sorry. I just feel like it would make sense, because Lothric already has basically a reason to go to war. And the city's really close because the Drake Heap, all that. And we know that the Drake Heap is basically a pilation of everything in the Dark Souls universe, because we got Earthen Peak Ruins, we got Lothric, we got everything. We got the Firelink Shrine from the first Dark Souls. So, and how this all ties back to Midir, as I said earlier. Midir was the first line of defense, and I feel like a lot of people knew that Midir was there in Archdragon, so they're like, hey, what's an Archdragon weak to? Lightning. So they sent the Dragon Slayer armors to go over there, but we all know how that went down, with, for example, how the Rune Sentinels basically all died, and basically joined the Way of Light Covenant, all that. And another reason, this is just, going even deeper, this is little me going off the rails, is that the Way of Light and Filianor came... So, the Angelic Faith, my personal theory, is basically a smaller side group of the Way of Light. And I feel like, and we know that, my personal theory, there was a civil war in Lothric between the Linking of the Fire, and there wasn't, because we see that Lothric and Lorien didn't want to link the fire, and we can kind of see that in the Knights, because we see the Knights right in front of Lothric and Lorien, all are blue. So that makes me believe that darkness, blue, they don't want to link the fire, while we see the Red Knights wanting to link the fire, because they have red, fire, all that. So I just feel like that's, and since the Angelic Faith came along and stirred everything up, that would give another reason for Lothric wanting to go to Civil War with the Ring City. Not Civil War, just go to war with the Ring City. So, yeah, hopefully I summed that up. I know that was like a lot to talk about in such a short span of time. I was thinking about this for such a long time when I was doing the playthrough, and I was like, hey, this kind of makes sense. And I just started to keep thinking about it more and more, and it just created like a snowball effect. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time on Ghostly French Toast. Bye.